Hello, and it seems like we're live. So,
Hello.
hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. It's been only a week since our live stream, but time flies. A lot of things has happened since then. But before we start, I'm going to introduce myself and my co-hosting partner. You probably already know us, but if you don't, if you're new to this game, if this is the first time you're watching the Division 2 live stream, my name is Daria. I'm community developer for Division 2, and with me, my co-host Yannick, creative director
Hi.
for Division 2. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, pretty excited.
Yep, there are a lot of things for us to
Yeah.
discuss today. To just give you an overview, we'll definitely talk about the changes following PTS Phase 1. Some of you may have seen the developer notes that we released a few days ago, and there are quite a few exciting updates in there. We would love to recite again. Also, we'll talk about the changes that were made to modifiers, to objectives. Those are new features that you will have access to with the next season. And we'll also talk about the new upcoming event that is called Throwback Event. This is a completely new thing, never been done before, and we'll explain it in more detail. I mean, there were a few hints mentioned last time because I just could not really shut myself up. This is a very exciting new thing. But before we start, there is one thing that we need to address concerning XP Boost event that we had recently, and unfortunately it did not work for everyone who wanted to participate, but Yannick wanted to share some good updates regarding future XP events, and I promise not to put him on the spot, and I'm already doing
Just
it.
before the stream went live, I said, "Don't put me on the spot," and that's what she's doing. No, I mean it's like we're very happy with the XP event and how it went. Obviously, it didn't work for everyone, and this is a new problem that we're going to have to look into, and obviously we want to fix that. It's the first time we do this kind of XP event, so we're a bit experimenting here. But still, overall, I think it sounds like for the people who could at least participate, this was a lot of fun. I played myself and I had a lot of fun. So to the question I think we had last time asking if we will do more of those, yes, we will be doing more of those because again, it was a lot of fun and everybody had fun and enjoyed it. So we will, you will see XP events come more regularly moving forward. But yes, we also need to fix that issue where for some people it did not work.
And from what I know, it was already identified and the team was working, making sure that this will not happen with the events in the future. Fingers crossed, because that was a really nice event. And I saw a lot of people joking about us having the X10 XP boost. So maybe for Christmas, I don't know. If you guys behave, maybe we'll consider it. Oh, people asking in the chat if I got a new haircut. No, it's just it's actually my hair got way longer than it was supposed to, so I didn't really have a time for a haircut. But this is not about me. This is
Thank you, chat, for being nice.
This is not about my makeup or haircut, unfortunately. But yeah, let's move to balancing. There are a lot of new exciting updates coming with Phase 2. By the way, I realized I completely forgot to confirm that Phase 2 will start on Friday. Preload is supposed to be available tonight. Also, we'll be releasing the patch notes for Phase 2 right after the live stream, similar as last time, so you will be able to see all the changes in detail, not only the changes that were mentioned in the dev notes. Pretty much everything else is going to be there, so please be on the lookout for those once we're done. But yeah, back to you. Some of the most exciting updates regarding balancing. We saw a lot of complaints about nerfs for San Elmo, for example, or Ouroboros, and those are just a few of the things that will be reverting with the second phase. For example, St. Elmo will have -10 rounds in the next BTS phase.
Yeah, it's we are partially reverting. So for St. Elmo, for example, so what you, and I think some people pointed this out, but you need to take into account that there's a buff to the M4, which actually impacts St. Elmo as well. So it gains power there. We've removed some of the power from St. Elmo on phase 1. And we're going to keep that. The one thing that we've decided to revert is the change in rounds. So we have removed the -10 it got in phase 1. So it's going to keep the same amount of rounds, 70 rounds in PTS phase 2. And same with Ouroboros. We are removing part of the nerf to kind of bring it up a bit again.
And also for Ouroboros, the rate of fire was adjusted following phase 1, and it just went from 1275 to 1250. I have everything, and also it's not.
You have the numbers.
Yeah,
I don't have them
the
in
numbers.
mind.
Yeah, because I would not be able to memorize all of that.
Yeah. And it's I mean, and we've got a lot of feedback on changes, right? And of course, every time we do nerfs, it tends to kind of focus a lot of the conversation on those, and we've tried to be to be cautious with those nerfs. I've seen some conversations in chat when before we went online on people asking why are we even nerfing what works and why don't we just bring everything up? And we've explained that already in the past, but I can do that again. It's it's important for us to try to keep some balance, and I don't think in any of the cases that we have in this update we've really drastically nerfed anything into the ground. I hope not. We've tried to be very cautious with those changes, but we can't just simply boost everything to that level, because then if you have one outlier that is more powerful than everything else, you boost everything, that becomes the baseline. Then next time something is more powerful, you boost everything again, and you're just introducing what we call power creep, which means that we're just making the players more and more powerful, and then the game content does not follow. So we need to try to keep a power level that is balanced. That being said, again, across the board on all those changes, including all the buffs we've done, I mean, overall, we have made a lot of things more powerful. So we have looked at the best performers and tried to bring the worst performers closer to that level. But then the few outliers that were above the crowd, those we try to bring down ever so slightly to try to narrow the gap between the items.
And also one of the examples is going to be Sledgehammer and Mosquito Song that are going to be reverted to how they are on live now for TU21 version, the current live version, and Mosquito will keep its updated talent, and also both Sledgehammer and Mosquito will retain the team-wide debuff.
Yeah, exactly. So for Sledgehammer, we proposed in phase 1 to remove the team-wide buff and make it for the player only that used it. This was obviously very unpopular, and we agree. Maybe that was pushing it a bit too far. So we've decided to bring it back to what it was. So it will be a team buff that you get for using Sledgehammer. We're going to change the value a bit, though. I think we're lowering the buff, therefore. So it's the team buff, but it's going to be a bit less powerful. Therefore, we're keeping the change to Mosquito. So you can have something similar with Mosquito. You can combine both and get even more buffs from that.
And another thing that we need to mention is the regarding balancing gear and brand sets with favorite strikers battle gear. Also, there were a few mentions that a lot of you were happy with the strikers changes, but it's important to mention that only the backpack was affected with the changes, and the main functionality of the 4-piece bonus is still there and just as powerful, but in phase 2 the value of backpack stacks will be brought a little bit higher from
0.85 to 0.9.
To 0.9, yeah.
So it's we're bringing it up a bit. It's still lower compared to what you have on the game today. So it allows us to still try to make sure that we are limiting the cases where striker becomes overpowered compared to anything else in the game. But it is less, a bit less than what we proposed on phase one.
And we can also mention a few updates that are going to be coming to new weapons and gear that will be available starting with TU22. And for example, let's start with Strega. I honestly still not 100% sure if it should be pronounced Strega or Strega. If you guys know in the chat, please let us know. So the thing that we need to mention first and foremost that it was not functioning the way it was supposed to, the way it was intended in the phase one, and it had infinite range. Also, I don't know how many stacks, but basically infinity.
It was stacking more than it should have.
Yeah. So it has been fixed now, and during the phase two, you would be able to finally experience it as how it was designed, how it's supposed to play. So we really ask you to pay close attention to how it works in delivery of feedback regarding it. And also there are additional change that's coming to Strega already, and I think you mentioned, you remember what that was?
Yeah, the range was broken on the PTS, so you couldn't really get a good appreciation of that, but the item was broken anyway, so, I know a lot of people were excited, but maybe it's because it wasn't working as intended. That being said, there's one change we've decided to make with Strega, which is lowering the range at which it applies the mark to our enemies. So the range was 20 meters, and we've lowered that to 10. And the idea being that really, especially at the beginning, when a group of enemies spawn, then this is where you're gonna get to apply as many stacks as you can, or as many marks as you can. And then as they spread out, then it becomes a bit less efficient. But we've decided not to change the damage buff from it, but instead reduce a bit the range.
Yep. And also for the new gear set that is also coming with TU22, Virtuoso 4 pieces bonus was updated, range was changed from 30 to 25 meters, and also timer was increased from 10 to 15 seconds.
I've seen in chat someone was asking about Scorpio as well. I don't know that we have it listed here, but yes, we're also changing the changes to Scorpio, where I don't have the numbers in mind, but we're kind of reverting halfway back. So I think it was it.
I also
I'm looking that way. I'm trying to look at Daya's screen because she's trying to dig up the change.
I'm trying to dig them up. I unfortunately cannot see them now, but
this is me putting Daya on the spot now. That's the payback.
Yeah, and I promised Yannick that I will have everything, but yeah, I do not see anything for Scorpio. Let's see what else we have.
But anyway, I think the first stack was at 1, and then on PTS 1 we made it at 3, and now it's going to be 2. So yeah, we're changing the values here. We're tweaking them to try to be a bit less drastic than what we had on PTS 1.
But not all the changes were about gear and weapons. There were also some changes concerning the new seasonal journey that we talked about last time. I also really hope that you guys had a chance to test it out in the previous phase. If you missed on that, no worries. The same content will be available starting on Friday, and throughout the weekend you will have a chance to look at the modifiers, objectives, counts, and all the new components to new revamped seasonal journey. So talking about the changes, I don't know what do you want to start with?
Well, I have priority objectives open here, so so I can talk about that. So there's one change we made that was based on feedback, which is that yes, it can happen sometimes that you choose a priority objective, you realize you don't like it, or you realize you cannot make it for some reason. We've actually added the option now. You will see at the bottom. We've actually added the option to abandon an objective. This will be on a cooldown, so you can't do it as much as you want. I believe it's a 60 minutes cooldown right now. But we don't want to end up in a situation where you are stuck and you cannot do priority objectives anymore because you picked one that didn't work for you, and then you can't progress. So now you see down there, you can just abandon the objective, you confirm, and we give you new ones. And now, of course, if I take another one, then I won't see the abandon anymore.
And also some objectives were removed that were holding up progression.
Yes.
So that is another update to priority objectives, and some of the time-limited objectives, or something that it's impossible to complete, is not a part of the rotation anymore.
Yeah. We are going to see over time, what we can add and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Maybe as the season goes, we'll realize that some of them are not a good option here. So we'll adapt. But yes, for now, at least the ones that have been pointed out to us that really don't make sense, we've removed them. One thing that is unique for this PTS, it's not gonna be like that on the game. And now, of course, I don't see it anymore. But on the first roll before I had it, you would have seen that I had a lot of modifiers under here. So for this PTS, just to give you a chance to experiment with the modifiers a bit more, we've actually increased the chances to get a modifier as reward from the priority objectives. So this is just, again, unique for the PTS. Don't imagine that it's going to be as generous when the game comes out, when the update comes out. But for now, at least for the PTS, you will be able to much more easily unlock the modifiers, so you can test them out and give us feedback.
Yes, I didn't really get a modifier last time, so I'm looking forward to it. Talking about modifiers, there were quite a few updates to them as well following phase 1. First and foremost, I think UI issue was the most commented on, and that one was a little bit misleading. It was fixed, so I would say that there was no real connection between functionality and the color, but now the icon should be changing depending on the range, right, and how far from the enemy you are, and like not really how far, but
so this is for the stellite coating. I hope I'm saying this right. Where basically I don't see the enemy modifiers here. Oh, it's not. Okay. The hostile modifier. So stellite coating. We had the issue, and we told you that the implementation was not final anyway. But now we've made the change. So when you are actually going to see the icon on an NPC, and we'll go in gameplay after that. Maybe I can show it. But when you're going to see the icon on an NPC, the color of the icon is going to change to tell you what range you actually need to reach to damage the NPC. So you will actually now know which one you're going to, or which range you need to move to. We also made some tweaks to that modifier and how it applies to NPCs. Redefined a bit which NPCs it can apply to. So and redistributed the other modifiers instead. So since this was a modifier that was applied on the assault archetype, for example, which is the most common archetype. Of course, that was the one you would encounter the most. So now we've changed that to put other modifiers instead. So overall, it's going to be less common to encounter this modifier because we know that this is the one that we got the most feedback on. So it should be it should be a bit less in your face.
Yeah, and there are a few other smaller updates to other modifiers as well. Those will be listed under the patch notes. So please let us know what you think about all those changes after trying them out on PTS.
Yeah. One thing that I don't know if we actually had planned to talk about, but you will notice that we actually have an inventory icon now and an inventory slot for the for the modifiers. on the last PTS, we actually put it instead of the all gear tab or the all gear button, which we got a lot of feedback on because some people are very attached to that tab. And it makes sense. So we've actually looked at that and we found that space up there to put it. So we've lowered the size of the specialization, the signature weapon icon, and instead we've put the modifiers there. So now they have their own place. They sit, and in the process we've also actually brought up the shade watch here. So don't be surprised if you're looking for your shade watch. It's not at the bottom anymore. It's up here. So up there you basically have the three. The three build options that actually have their own customization menu in there. So the all gear button is back.
Is there anything else we want to show in the build?
Should I try to play a bit just to see if I can just show the icon of the modifier?
Yeah. I don't know why you're asking me for permission, of course. This is the purpose of this live stream.
You have the time in mind, so you tell me. I'm just gonna run around and see if I can face some NPCs, and hopefully we're gonna be able to. Don't send me friend invites, people. I'm not going to accept them.
So people in the chat saying that I also need to play a little bit. God knows I want to, but I will probably just release the photos of our current setup on Twitter later for you guys to see and maybe have a good laugh. No disrespect to Tori and George, because they are the ones who set it up, and it's honestly it's awesome. It is great. I love it so much better than what we had previously in our podcast room, which is nice and cozy, but having the green screen and possibility to just stream the build and talk about all the changes is quite nice. So the thing is, we only have one PC at the moment and a few screens because the space is very cramped and tiny. So yeah, for now we'll have to work with what we can. But yeah, let's concentrate on what's happening on the screen right now. Oh, and my chair suddenly went down.
Okay, can you hear me still? Because I've lost audio in my headphones, so just it's back. Very good. Of course, you're gonna see I'm not gonna have any NPC with that modifier now, just to annoy me. That's fine, you're all gonna die then.
Oh, by the way, we'll be answering all the questions from the chat once we are done with showing all the new changes and talking about things that we plan to talk about. So, stand by.
Why did I tell you not to send me invites? You're all gonna send me invites now? Well, I'm going to decline every single one of you.
So there is a question about reading the range indicator and how it's supposed to work. Do you want to take this one?
The range indicator next to the crosshair?
Yes.
Sure, yeah, so the way it works is that it when you aim at an NPC, it tells you what range it is at. So this one was at blue, you see this one is in the yellow range. So this defines the damage bonus that I will get on that NPC, and also if I have minor modifiers that are connected to that range, this is where those minor modifiers will be active. I'm calling them minor modifiers, they're actually called passive modifiers. Sorry. It's a lot of new words we're gonna have to learn. See, I'm trying to show something and we are not going to see it because that's how mean the game is to me.
But with the spawn rate, not the spawn rate, but I don't know, application rate of this modifier also decreased, right? So
Maybe we've been too hard.
we just need everyone in the chat like to concentrate their brain waves on us getting the NPC that we need. To answer the question if it's possible to activate this, yes, you will be able to activate modifiers if you want to. If you want to, there is an opportunity to do that. So yeah, it's not mandatory. It's not like you're gonna be forced to play with the modifiers if you don't want to.
Yeah, no, you can play the whole season without it if you want. Well, I guess there wasn't one. But trust me, I'm a dev. It works.
I mean, you tested it prior to the stream, right? So
So eventually, you can keep talking. I'm just going to play the video game, and when you hear me scream, it's because we will see one of those icons.
and we can actually talk about the upcoming throwback event while you're playing if you want to.
Sure, yeah.
I can start. So the throwback event, the thing that I hinted at last time, and maybe it was a little bit premature, maybe I was not supposed to, but then again, who's gonna stop me? I'm already talking, right? So we just wanted to clarify a few things since it also raised a few questions from you guys. So first and foremost, this is the event that gonna be starting next week on October 8th. And the main idea behind the event is that you will get an opportunity to obtain some exotics that were previously available, so through previous level. Oh my god. We'll start again. So exotics from previous seasons. We know that right now they are also available through Countdown, but if you're a new player, that's a perfect opportunity for you to have a 100% chance of dropping those. So that's a really interesting event in that regard. Those are going to be the best exotics with 100% drop rate that you can get after eliminating the prime target of one of each previous seasons. And also you will be able to earn stars through global events and cash those stars for specific seasonal caches that would contain best exotics of the season. So it's really an amazing opportunity to just stock up on those old exotics.
Yeah.
But I will mention this because there were a lot of questions last time. Blueprints won't be available. That is an event only for weapons and gear itself.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there will be a new, I think every 48 hours, I think we will have a new project that will be asking you to replay one of the legacy climax mission, and when you complete that project, you get that exotic guaranteed. And then yeah, we've also added the season caches to the global events vendor. So when you are going to play global events, you will be able to actually purchase season caches, and we've added here it is, and we've added the exotics to those caches. So for those of you that are missing specific exotics, this is going to be a great way to target those for people like me who still do not to this day have the Scorpio, for example. I will finally, hopefully, get my hands on the Scorpio. We basically just designed this event for me.
And same with XP boosters, because I think Yannick was among those who enjoyed it the most.
Yes, the XP boost is also just for me to catch up. Me and my poor man's 500 shade level.
And yeah, to make sure that you're properly informed on how this entire event is going to work, of course, there's going to be an article detailing the mechanic. There's also going to be a calendar, so you know when to look for a specific prime target and also what sort of exotics coming back. But if you had a chance to play through all the previous seasons, you probably already know that. We'll still just repeat it for new players. And this entire event will last for 3 weeks, and I don't know if that's in connection with this event or people noticing the changes in the season wrapper after the update that we had this week. But some discussions arised among players about us extending the season. So it's not really an extension in a way. It was basically specifically designed for us to have an opportunity to engage with a throwback event. And also probably going to mention it, like whenever you see end dates for seasons in the calendar, do not assume that this is when the season will end or when the next is going to be released, because we update those wrappers almost all the time with different updates, so it's not a clear indicator of the end or the beginning of the next season.
Yeah, always take this with a grain of salt. We usually always put fake dates there because we don't want the season end date to reveal the start of the new season. So the throwback event is really here to in a way do a last farewell to the old season model, as we're going to be moving into the new revamped seasons. We just wanted to take a moment to say goodbye to. Trying to remember, I have the count, 11 seasons, I believe it's been, not including the reruns.
Yes, but there are going to be only 10 projects because we do not have enough time for all of them. We only have one.
11 because
yes,
it's the one that's running
current,
right now.
With the
so
current one, yes.
We don't need a project for this one, but the other 10, because I think we are technically season 15 now. We've stopped counting like that, but I think this is season 15. What we have now, what is here is actually 16, but anyway.
And even though
you can stop playing the game and actually pay attention to what you're saying. So.
No, I was just talking about the seasonal extension that caused some uproar within the community, which is not really an extension, but at the same time.
Well, we've never confirmed the date, so so it's you take it as you want. But again, the date that you see in game is you should never, or you should always take that with a big grain of salt, because that date, if you actually pay attention, you will see it changes with our updates.
And there is a good question about the modifiers. What happens in the group? Is it going to be mixed? Some people playing with modifiers, other playing without them. But I guess that would all come down to the group leader. If the group leader plays with a modifier, then the rest of the group is going to be forced to play.
It's the same as global events, so the group leader decides.
So, do you want to start taking questions from the chat?
Yeah, if I'm looking that way, it's because I'm reading you. I'm not paying attention. Can we save modifiers in our loadouts? No, I don't believe they're saved with the loadout. I think once they're applied, they will apply to all your loadouts. You can always change them, of course, on the fly, but I don't think you can save the configuration with the loadouts.
Modifiers account-wide or character-specific?
Account-wide. So when you unlock them, they're unlocked for the whole account. There was a question earlier that I wanted to reply. Yes, actually, I don't know that I'm supposed to say that, but I will anyway. And Daria will maybe yell at me afterwards. But I've seen people asking about, it's back in here. What's this thing with Wall of Silent? So we've said already, and I think Daria confirmed that. But
preparing to throw it at Yannick.
No, it's the same. You know, when you're going to go into a PTS build or going to go data mine some stuff, always take a big grain of salt. Sometimes we work on prototypes. Sometimes we have ideas that we start implementing in builds, and they just don't make it for multiple reasons. So just because someone found something in the build, take that with a big grain of salt because it does not confirm anything. It does not mean anything. So, yeah, that's what I will say about that. Do not take it for granted.
Changing the topic back to modifiers because there is a lot of question about them. Are modifiers necessary to progress the season?
No, you get more modifiers as you progress the season. In the season journey, you unlock modifiers. With the priority objectives, you also unlock modifiers. But you do not need to use the modifier to progress your season. As we've shown, you can turn them off, and then you can play the game as usual, and you're still going to get season progression from it. It's really an option for you if you want to.
But also modifiers are kind of going to become important for the new difficulty climax mission that will also going to be introduced in the next season. We talked about it last time. All the details can be also found in the previous patch notes or the VOD of the live stream. But yeah, I mean, it's still going to be possible to play through climax without those, but it's going to be a tougher challenge.
Yeah, when the master difficulty comes out for the climax, yes, it is designed with the modifiers in mind. So if you decide not to use them, you will have a harder time. I see people are asking, or someone asking, like, what's the point of modifiers then? Well, the point is choice. You can use them or you can not use them if you want. We're not going to make that mandatory. I'd rather that we try to make them fun, so you want to turn it on. And this is just our first batch. This is the first time we are doing it. So as usual, we create a new system. It's going to take a few seasons for us to iterate and to find the right formula. So I think this will be fun with those modifiers, and we will learn a lot from this season. And then next season will come with a fresh new set of modifiers, and we'll iterate on that. So if you don't like those, well, just turn them off and try again next season. Maybe the ones next season you will like even more.
Modifiers are going to replace global directives, and no, actually they will coexist, and there will be an opportunity to choose to play either with one or another. So they're not going anywhere.
But now you say we need them for climax mission. No, so just to be clear, the climax mission, without spoiling too much about the climax mission, you will be able to do the climax mission as usual. You don't need to have the modifier on to do the climax mission. The climax mission will also be made available in a new difficulty that is called Master. That difficulty, it's a whole new difficulty setting that we're creating specifically for climax missions. And that difficulty setting, if you use Master, we are going to design it with the modifier in mind. That doesn't mean you need the modifier. At no point you're not going to be able to do it mechanically because you don't have the modifier. But the combat, the way the encounters are designed and all of that will be here to encourage the gameplay with the modifier. So you may have a harder time to do it without the modifiers, but that doesn't mean that you cannot do it. Once again, it will be your choice. Will modifiers give you more XP if you enable them? No, there is no incentive to enabling the modifiers at this point anyway. So far, we'd rather just make that a pure choice of taste if you like them or not. Once again, the modifier, the main modifier it's a bonus. I think one thing that kind of influences this whole discussion, because I know that some people are not necessarily convinced with the proposition so far, and that's fine. Bear in mind, on PTS, you haven't been able to unlock all the modifiers. So you've been playing with just kind of the basic version of it, whereas the enemies have all their hostile modifiers already. So you are a bit at an imbalance against them, because on the PTS, you cannot unlock all the modifiers. So keep that in mind as well, that as you play the season, you will unlock all the modifiers. You will have more options and you will have more tools to actually counter the hostile modifiers. So try this out when the season is out, and then give us feedback on how you think this works.
There was also a question about modifiers availability for raids.
For raids, yeah, as far as I know, they will be enabled in the raid as well, in the raids.
I honestly don't remember that, but someone in the chat said we talked about it last time, so just watch the previous live stream. Probably, us from the past knew better than us from the future.
I see someone. Yannick, listen, please. We just want new content, please. Yeah, I mean, we're redoing the season system. That's a lot of work. If that's not for you, if what you want is a new map, then just wait a bit, because we have a whole DLC in Brooklyn that's lined up for you later on.
There are a few questions about throwback event. Will the stars disappear after the individual global events or after the whole global event period has ended? And honestly, I do not have the answer to this question now, but I will assume that you will need to spend the stars during that particular global event, because then the next set of exotics and targets will come with another event. So if you want this specific gear from a specific season, from a specific target, it's best if you spend the stars while it's still ongoing. And we will release the calendar with information, so you know when to look for specific targets and gear.
In the future, will we have new things for the hardcore character? I hope. I'd like to. That's something we've discussed, and we'll have to look at. Not for this update, but I think it would be cool to to take a new stab at hardcore and make it a bit more fun, and connect it to the new seasons as well. I see all of you asking for more stash space and more inventory space. We know. You can keep asking. We know. We've known for a while, and I know that some time ago I tried to explain that we were kind of at the maximum capacity, and we are exploring options, and we have options. So we'll see where that brings us. But we know it's an issue. We know we're implementing new gear every season, and some people want to collect everything. So we know it's a big request, and we'll see where those options bring us.
So another question about throwback event. How about named items and blueprints in throwback event? So unfortunately, there will be no named items, also no blueprints. That is another thing that we can discuss to see if it's maybe will be. I'm just looking at Yannick because it's a very popular question, and now the chat is off.
I've lost everything.
Dory, George,
it's probably
please
because
help us.
I need to probably
Okay.
wake up the computer.
It's back again.
I'm too focused on the conversation.
So
it happened last time already.
So yeah, no blueprints and named items this time around, but I don't know, maybe we'll think of something for the future.
Yeah, we should have them eventually. We need more storage of Fury gear. I don't think we want to do Fury gear. So that leaves us one option. Let us use textiles on more items, please. We need to see what we're going to do with textiles. It's a bit of a legacy thing from old times. I'm sure we can do more interesting things with it. The last hunter mask on the board, can we have a clue, please? That thing right now is not connected to anything, so don't go out there and try to find a hidden hunter mask. There is no hidden hunter mask that haven't been discovered yet. That hook was added for other reasons. It sounds like a crazy tease. It's not. It's stupid game dev stuff.
Yes, people will overanalyze this.
Yeah, they will be like, "Oh, is Yannick teasing an incoming new hunter?"
Yeah, people are already chanting in the hunters. There were a few questions. I cannot see them right now, but I remember seeing a few about new conflict maps.
That'd be cool.
Thank you for very informative answer.
We don't have new conflict maps planned yet, but yeah, it'd be nice to add new ones. So if we find an opportunity to do that, we jump on it.
Open all cache button, please. I think this is the question about global events again. and from what I know, it's something we've been discussing, but it has not been done yet.
Yeah, I think it's outside of global events. I think when you have a bunch of caches, you want to be able to open all of them. I know we've discussed it already. There's a bunch of edge cases we need to be careful with. Like, what if you run out of space while you're opening the caches? Do we open them one by one? Do we open everything? Do we drop it on the floor? Do we, that there's a lot of risky situations that make this a bit much harder than it sounds. So that's why we haven't tackled it yet. But it is, on our list of quality of life improvements we'd like to do at some point.
Once again, there are a lot of questions about new raids and incursions, and yeah, I joked last time that I need to print myself a T-shirt that like has all this frequent question answered already. I mean, there are once again no plans, but maybe in the future, in the very distant future. I mean, nothing is off the table, right? So things can happen, but we do not have plans for immediate future. So the only thing that I would say you have 100% be sure that you can be looking forward to is the DLC.
Will the current global events and system for replaying old manhunts change in the future with the integration of these new features? No, so in the with the revamp of the seasons, we will still have global events. We will be able to run global events. So that's going to exist. The thing that you need to know is that the modifier and the global event cannot coexist. So if you want to play the global event, you will have to turn off the modifier for the duration of the global event. But otherwise you can play it, no problem. And then the second part, the previous manhunt. No, these will remain available as well. So you will be able to play the legacy climax missions.
There was a question about call for backup and when it's going to be available again. So it's a very high priority issue. I do not have a fixed version in mind right now, but that is something that the team has been working on, and hopefully we'll get an update regarding the fixed version soon.
Please look at buffing through Patriot.
That's a good one. Is Skinner Yannick's alter ego?
Nah.
Yannick is too nice.
I would never be rogue. I don't think that's for me. Invaded Kenley. What would that look like? Invaded Kenley. I don't know. Will Yannick add us? Nope. How many of you? I just got 17 invites. That's okay. But I'm going to decline all of them. This is actually my private account where I play games with my real-life friends, the few of them I have left.
That was just very sad. But there was a funny question, not really a question, but a statement that if Fei Lao is alive, we just need to blink to confirm it. Maybe it's just a hologram. I don't know. Maybe it's not even live. Maybe it's pre-recorded. Who knows?
Let's just bring back more characters from the dead. It's gonna make everybody happy. Fifth character slot, can we still get that? Yeah, even for premium credits. But that's the thing, we had planned to add a fifth character slot to go with the seasonal characters. We've removed seasonal characters, but the space we had allocated for that fifth character, we are looking at how we can reuse that. So when I talked about options for extra storage or whatever, this is kind of what's feeding into that, is that we had made ourselves comfortable with the idea of increasing the save size by adding a fifth character. So maybe that's something we can reuse. But again, it's as usual in game dev, it sounds similar, but we are not always comparing apples to apples.
There was a request for more Halloween horror theme everything. I also don't know if it's okay to hint at that or not, but I'm still gonna do it. Even though Yannick is looking at me.
Asking the wrong person.
Yeah. Just a small hint. We won't have a Halloween event per se this time around, but new cosmetic items are coming that are gonna be Halloween themed, and there would be at least 2 opportunities for you to get new Halloween spooky gear. It's not really gear; it's cosmetics anyway. But yeah, more stuff is coming.
Omega Dragon, is there a way to get the previous collectibles comes from previous seasons if I was not playing when they came out? Yes, if you replay the climax mission of that season, you can unlock those collectibles, so that's your way of grinding them. So with the throwback event, you're gonna get extra rewards for replaying this climax if you play during the project anyway. But in anytime, honestly, even outside of that event, whenever you replay the climax, if you don't have all the collectibles, you are able to drop them from that climax.
Will XP boost event be back? Yes, that's what we started the stream with today, and Yannick here confirmed that we are looking to have more of those events in the future, both X3 and X5. So for now, the priority is to make sure that the issue that prevented some of the players to really enjoy the XP Boost event this weekend is identified, fixed, and after that we hope to have those events on more or less regular basis throughout this season.
Yeah. Gosh, there was a question I wanted to take, but then chat was too fast and I lost it. I remember someone was asking about leagues or saying bring leagues back. Yes, so leagues are going to disappear with the new season model because they're just simply not compatible really with what we're doing. That being said, we want to revisit the ID. So maybe leagues will return at some point, or at least the idea of time challenges is something that's still interesting. So we'll need to think a bit about it. But while leagues will no longer exist when the next season starts, the essence of it might come back eventually. There's a lot of questions on the Brooklyn DLC. You know we're not going to answer those, right? You can keep asking, but cannot answer.
But there is one thing that we can actually confirm, that it's in fact going to be in New York, in Brooklyn.
I mean, Brooklyn is not just a code name for something that's actually another city.
But there was a question, because apparently there is another Brooklyn in a different state.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, that would be really sneaky of us.
That would be the plot twist of the century.
Brooklyn, Connecticut. No, it's not the same. Okay. Why are new incursions or raids not a priority for you guys? That's actually that's a good question, because it's and I don't have a good answer for you, but it's just we need to, like, just because we don't do something doesn't mean that we don't like it or we don't think it should be added to the game. There's a million things we would like to do with the game. Pretty much I think every single comment I see in chat of people saying, add this, do that, I'm like, yep, that sounds cool. And that's why there's a lot of things. So we need to prioritize with the time we have, with the budgets we have, with what we think is best for the game, what is the most urgent to do right now, what's going to help us the most in the long run. Sometimes we prioritize things for a specific type of players, other times we prioritize other things. So it is really, and that's your question, why we don't think it's a priority. Well, it's just because right now we have other priorities. But once again, that doesn't mean we don't want to do it. If it were up to me, I would have 5,000 people working on this game and I would do all the things, but that would probably not be sustainable, unfortunately. So we need to unfortunately take it one thing at a time.
There was a question about all cosmetics from previous seasons, and I assume apparel event reruns. Do you know anything about?
No, I don't. Sorry.
But we know the people who probably know or can do something about it, so we'll talk to them and see.
How many people working on the game? Enough. Enough to keep going.
It's five raccoons in a trench coat.
It's that's part of the not interesting side of things, but it's we need to be realistic and reasonable with the size of the project and with how much revenues we can generate with this game, and then have the team that can keep going. So it's all a balancing exercise with all of those things. So we have the right amount of people now to do cool things and keep going, but not 5,000.
Okay, let's answer 2 last questions.
Any new specializations planned? No. Do I pick the second one as well?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Well, I can try to just quickly go through some of them. Any changes coming for Descent? No, nothing planned right now. Any plans for new raid or incursion? I believe we've answered that. Checkpoints for Descent? No. It would be great, but it's I think we've talked about that at some point. But it's we've made the decision when we made it not to do that, which had implications in the way the mode was built. And in hindsight, I understand why people would want it, but it's not something we can retroactively add to the mode. It would be a tremendous amount of work to implement it now. So that's not something we can prioritize at this point. Option to change specialization on the fly, yeah, that would be cool.
And I mean, from what I see, the majority of questions start repeating themselves. So I will just, unless there is anything else you want to bring up.
Who will be the composer for the music of the DLC? Ola, always Ola. Except Countdown. Countdown was not Ola. He was busy, but everything else always.
On this positive note, I'm just trying to wrap things up because it was actually Yannick who needed to attend to other things. But I will just repeat a few things once again. So, PTS preload starts tonight. PTS itself will be available tomorrow throughout the weekend, usual time, usual day. I mean, this schedule is going to be released together with the patch notes right after the live stream, so you will be able to see all the changes, not only those that we talked about today, but everything else as well. And yeah, once we are ready to announce the season release date, we'll do it on our social media. There is no need to send us questions on Twitter. We will not be answering those, so make sure to look for answers on official channels. And with that being said, thank you so much for everyone who came to watch us today. Thank you so much, Yannick, for being an awesome co-host and helping me to answer all the questions.
Thank you for letting me talk out of my cave.
Nobody's gonna stop us anyway, right? Because it's just the two of us, George and Dory, what they can do.
And George was asking if you could let go of the green screens. I think we should keep going for another hour.
Actually,
just to teach him a lesson.
This time around we have 2 green screens because we're not sitting shoulder to shoulder anymore. We have a little bit more of space. So
that's true.
George had a very important task today. Good job.
Good George.
Good George. With that being said, thank you so much once again. Super happy to see such an engaged chat, and see you next time. Bye.
See you, everyone.